Hello, this is 2D from Complay, and today I'm gonna talk about how to lane as an AD carry or marksman. First, we're gonna start with the basics. Uh, the term of AD carry or marksman stands for attack damage carry. Usually, an attack damage carry or marksman, it's mainly building 80% of its items based on damage or attack speed. Mostly, of you would believe that carry means to have a massive large number of kills and deal abnormal amounts of damage to the enemy. No. In fact, that isn't the what carry means. That's what you do as an AD carry. Yes, but the term carrying means something different from altogether. Carrying is the act of being a decisive force in your victory. It means you lead your team, you made the calls, you made the plays. You worked with your team and disregarded your weakness so you could exploit them. You'll be one of the main focus as the enemy teams and a valuable asset to your team. While the other roles have their strengths and weaknesses, you have too. But for your team, you are the fastest damage dealer to structures and closing in the objectives that your team has to take. Of course, skills don't win the game, they just help getting you stronger. On the other side, objectives do this. Main abilities. As a main ability is CSing. CSing stands for creep score, and it's one of main abilities that a League of Legends player should be able to master. You don't need just to farm, you need to last it. I don't mean hitting the cannon minion a few times, maybe get the caster minion or one melees, I mean get every single one of them. Minions are the source of your gold. They're more valuable than kills, remember this. What this means is that instead of constantly looking for ways to poke and whittle down your opponent, deny them. Focus on killing creeps and never ever burst the enemy down unless they are low or a gank is incoming. At a specific point in game, you should be aiming for an average of 10 CS per minute. Always try to keep your goal per minute and try to shoot for these marks. Considering 100 CS at 10 minutes, it's unrealistic in most scenarios. But you have other goals. Like shown here, you could aim for a 5-minute goal of 30 plus CS. Somewhere around the 10 minutes mark, you should be able to have 80 or more CS. Somewhere around 15-minute mark when you should have some items because you probably went back, you should be able to have somewhere around 140 CS. After this point, just grab whatever you can. You won't be able to just free farm side lanes like you have been doing. Learning to farm is a critical aspect. Of course, as I said, CSing is a skill that needs mastering. It's not something that you just get in game and be able to do from the beginning. For those who are not accustomed to CSing, they can only learn that skill by practicing and practicing some more. To practice CSing, you just go by yourself into a custom game that you created. Stay there for 10-15 minutes trying to get the goals that I talked about earlier. After that, you can just exit the game because you will get like no penalty from leaving a custom game that only you were in and just start it over again. For me, it took up from 20 to 30 games to be able to last hit without no pressure from the enemy, and I still did bad in my first serious, let's say serious AD carry game. Not because I didn't practice too much, because I was already feeling and knowing when to attack and when to read my next target, because free farming and farming with pressure from the enemy are two different things. So that's why I did bad. I was accustomed to farming with no pressure, and when I just entered in the game, seeing pressure from enemy AD carry just threw me off balance. So, in the end, just go and practice by yourself, or if you have someone to help you learning CSing under pressure, go for it, it's even better. It should be able to master CSing a lot better. Of course, prioritizing some things is important in game, as in most strategy games, because League of Legends is about strategizing. Besides your main focus, which is farming, you should be able to make a second focus on keeping the enemy from getting CS and experience, as I said earlier. Trying to take first turret from bottom lane somewhere around 10-15 minutes mark, it's a good thing. It should help building pressure over the enemy team, because they're either forced to try to take your turret back, either forced to roam wherever you're going. After you take that turret, go help other lanes. If you're AD carry and you're having your support and staying on bottom lane, doesn't mean that your whole game you have to stay there. No, that's wrong. Go help other lanes. Like, for example, if mid is losing his lane or going even, but mid turret is not down yet, how about you go do that? It will help your overall goal. Even though you might end up taxing some minions from his lane and you'll have to suck up some flame and rage from him because he will be like, stop taking my farm, things like that. The gold amount overall is far greater than 20-25 CS that you could get from staying in your lane. It's far better. A turret, it's 150 gold earned for each teammate, plus some more gold for the ones who are near the turret death. Besides prioritizing, in this prioritizing actually, I was saying about zoning, keeping them away from getting CS and experience. That's called zoning. Zoning the enemy AD carry means to keep the enemy AD carry from farming, getting experience. But to do that, you need to cooperate with your support to zone the enemy bottom lane from the creeps. Why cooperate with your support? Because you're playing AD carry, and unlike other lanes, on bottom lane it's a duo lane, not a solo 1v1 straight full skill matchup. This implies some things. One of them is like this. To be able to zone, first you have to know what damage you can deal to the enemy bottom lane, you and your support, and what they can return. If you can overtrade them, it's perfect. To be able to check that, means that you have to do a little battle early, a skirmish, to see how much damage you can do to him with no items and how much he can return back. If you win that trade, stand back a little, regenerate some mana, health, start farming closer to their minions than behind yours. When he gets close, if you don't have any minions to kill in that second, try to poke him down, but be careful, don't chase them. You're just gonna move away from their creeps and might make you lose some CS. Yeah, I know everyone is focusing a lot on saying CS, 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 but CSing it's really the main gold income in League of Legends. Another way to deny it's either getting them low health to force them back, either to kill them, of course, so they will fall even more behind. Another great tool is to cooperate with the jungle to call from ganks. Pressure from the jungle can help in that matter because usually when they see your jungler, they will fall back, except in the case that their jungler is near for a counter gank. That's a way to read them. If they are not falling back, it means the enemy jungler is there. If your jungler is behind their jungler, you should just return back, wait for the threat to go away, and start getting back to your CS. Another thing that you have to prioritize is the build order. When going back to base, for your first big purchase, always think what you could happen once you get back to lane. You have to keep in mind, are you going to keep farming? Are you going to jump with your support for a chance to get a kill? Or are you just going to signal for your jungle to come and initiate a team fight? These things all affect you in your items purchase, and rightfully so. Also, if they have armor or they're having a tanky AD carry, do yourself a favor and buy a goddamn Last Whisper. You'll deal so much more damage. Of course, when I'm saying Last Whisper, I don't mean prioritize on buying Last Whisper like your first item, but try to make it close to necessary item to buy really fast. You could go for a damage item like Infinity Edge, an attack speed item if your AD carry champion doesn't have an attack speed steroids because they are champions, like in this video that's on the background. Misfortune, her W, it's an attack speed steroid, which gives you more attack speed as you activate it. So basically, I didn't really need the Phantom Dancer in the video. I took it because I was way too far ahead the enemy bottom lane. Learn to counter build. This is one of the biggest things for AD carry. If you see a guide with a specific build, just don't take that build as standalone. I have to build that because it was like that in the guide. This is another important part of AD carrying as well. You don't want to be buying a Phantom Dancer with no damage to back it up, nor you are going to buy a Guardian Angel when the enemy is not even focusing you. Yeah, defensive items are great, but usually on AD carry they are bought close to last item if they are not focusing you, and you can position yourself so they are not reaching you. Being in bottom lane should keep you aware of another thing: objective prioritizing. It should make you focused on getting first tier turrets from bottom lane and maybe mid lane, as I said, and especially focus on early dragons. Taking early dragons might sound easy because jungler has to be there and mid laner can collapse on it, but do it wrong and you'll end up with an early 4v4 in which you might not win. You might not win not because you're not winning against them, but usually the enemy should be smart and let you take some damage from Drake. After that, collapsing on you, killing you, and taking the Drake too, maybe, if the jungler can be outsmited. This is another important thing. If your support says go and do Drake, don't. If your jungler is not there, you don't have a smite, which is from 500 to 900 or 1000, I don't really remember this, true damage to minions. That's a securing tool for the objectives like barons and dragons. Just don't do it. Push your lane. Try to figure something out. If a fight breaks out pre-6 and it seems like we have no one around to help, then the only help you can get in the situation is optimal. You can tell if it's optimal by analyzing how long it will take you to reach the fight, how many high damage dealers are in the fight, and how likely they are going to focus you when you show up in the fight. It honestly isn't that smart to go in a 1v2 fight in the river early on, unless you really know that you can take them out without fear of opposing your AD carrier support coming in to clean up. A key mechanic in this situation is to know how to use the attack move. Attack move is a movement command that tells you how to move to a location, but attacking things along the way. This allows you to continue moving and clicking as you normally do, but also deal damage to your opponents who are behind you. Along with this section is how you react when your support tries to fight by themselves, but expects you to guide them. There's a simple answer for this: just don't. If your support runs into a blind fight with no vision on the river or other bushes and you're not even close enough to join in quickly, then it's the best just to take the flame from him and move on with your life. Really, nothing else to do. It's better to give one kill than to give 2 kills and after that maybe some objectives. When you are close enough to initiate with your support, then go ahead. There is nothing stopping you. As long as you have vision, enough HP, and your abilities are up, then you should be fine. The only problem is that you need to be using your head during this. Don't turret dive a kill Ash combo or something close to that post level 6. We all know what happens. Your Ash will just get ulted by Kayle, Ash will just ult you, you'll get a lot of turret damage, and you'll end up dying. Overall, just be smart, pick your fights wisely, don't go in alone, or let others to go in alone. And if you die, make sure no one else does afterwards. Force a 1v1 trade if it's all possible, just if you know that you'll win it. Laning with your support, it's an important part of laning phase. For the entirely of the laning phase, your support is your best friend. They should go everywhere with you, they should assist you in everything, as you should do the same for them. Support isn't just a backseat role like mom watching her kids play in a sandbox. It's a strong, defensive, and backbone-like role. It acts just like its name implies. As support. Support helps in everything you do, in every way. Neglect your support and you lose your lane. Simple as that. Respect it. Don't just let them die during a fight if you can help them live, and don't argue with them when they don't work consistently. They are doing the best they can with what they have. You forget the support doesn't have piles of gold to spend, and generally it's a disadvantage for the majority of early game. So be courteous in your choice of words. You have trinkets. Use them as much as possible. Get vision of the area. Never let a bush from the lane unwarded, or you might end up with a 3v2 because of gank, or even worse, top laner collapsing on you with teleport 2. It's not season 3 anymore, and it won't come back. Sorry, it really won't. And the times when support could just ward the entire map so it would look like a Christmas tree are gone. During the laning phase, you should always keep up with your enemy's CS and build. Always try to stay at least 20 CS ahead of them and to not give up the lead. Don't give me the chance to catch up, and never take recalls for granted. As you can see, in this game I wasn't doing a perfect CSing, like keeping ahead, but I never fall behind. Even if I was behind, I was 1, 2, 5 CS most, which I was recovering them. But I did some stupid mistakes, which I was talking about. I got a little cocky, got into some fights where I thought that I could take them, and I ended up dying. Just don't do as I do. Or better. It's easier and safer to CS and farm for those 2 waves than is to try. No, this is a lot something bad. Always try to stay at least 20 CS, I said. Don't give them a chance to call back. Yes, getting a kill makes you up for about 3 years of minions, but that's not the point. It's easier to CS and farm those waves than it's to track how low HP jungler down and snipe them while risking a death in the process. Just farm. You can earn like 3 times the gold in lane that you can in mid, waiting for a teamfight to happen. On bottom lanes, there are 3 types of lanings. Kill lanes, poke lanes, and of course the most easiest one, it's sustain lane. Each has their strengths and their weaknesses, and each one has a counter for each other. For example, a poke lane, it's a pretty strong lane to work against the kill lane, because you'll just have to be focused to keep poking them, get them low, so you will make them think twice before they will engage you, because a kill lane most of the times have to go with an all-in. Sustain lanes, they are the easiest, the safest. It's basically you and the support that has a lot of heal and that can keep you safe from all the pokes. A sustain based lane usually makes up for a kill lane, and it's a pretty strong counter to a poke lane, as you can just heal up all the damage that a poke lane does. This will be the end of this video. I'll make a second part about team fighting as an AD carry, positioning, and all the other things. Thanks for watching. Like, share, thumbs up. Post a comment below. Tell me if it helped, if it's something bad in this tutorial, if it's not. And that's pretty much all. See you guys next time. Ciao.